Story of the Ants and the Grasshopper. One bright summer day, a grasshopper was hopping, singing, and enjoying the sun. As he played, he saw a group of ants working hard, carrying grains of food to their nest. "Why are you working so hard?" the grasshopper asked. "Come and enjoy the sunshine with me," one of the ants replied. "We are storing food for the winter. You should do the same before it's too late." The grasshopper laughed. "Winter is far away. There's plenty of food now. I'll worry about it later." And he continued playing while the ants kept working. As time passed, summer turned to autumn, and autumn to winter. The grasshopper, now cold and hungry, found that there was no food left. The trees were bare, and the ground was covered in snow. Shivering, he went to the ants' nest and begged for food. "Please help me. I have nothing to eat." But the ants shook their heads. "We worked hard to prepare for winter. While you played, you should have thought ahead." The grasshopper, ashamed, realized his mistake. From that day on, he learned the importance of hard work and planning for the future. Moral of the story: hard work and preparation are important for future challenges. There is a time to work and a time to play. Those who waste time in idleness may struggle when difficult times come. Story of the Honest Woodcutter. Once upon a time, in a quiet village near a dense forest, there lived a poor but hard-working woodcutter. Every day, he would go into the forest with his axe to chop wood and sell it in the market to earn a living. One day, while chopping wood near a river, his axe slipped from his hands and fell into the deep water. The woodcutter was heartbroken, as this was his only tool for earning a livelihood. He sat by the river, worried and helpless. Suddenly, the river sparkled, and a beautiful fairy appeared. She held a shining golden axe in her hand and asked, "Is this your axe?" Quote. The woodcutter looked at the golden axe and shook his head. "No, that is not mine. My axe was simple and made of iron." The fairy smiled and disappeared into the water, only to return with a silver axe. "Is this your axe?" she asked again. The woodcutter again shook his head. "No, that is not mine either. Mine was an old iron axe." The fairy disappeared once more and finally returned with an old iron axe. "Is this your axe?" she asked. The woodcutter's eyes lit up with joy. "Yes, that is my axe," he exclaimed, impressed by his honesty. The fairy said, "Because you are an honest man, I will reward you." She gave him not only his iron axe but also the gold and silver axes as a gift. The woodcutter thanked the fairy and returned to his village. When he shared the story, everyone praised his honesty. From that day forward, he continued to work hard and lived a happy and prosperous life. Moral of the story: honesty is the best policy. Truthfulness and integrity are always rewarded in the end. The Lion and the Mouse. Once upon a time, in a vast and dense jungle, there lived a mighty lion. He was the king of the jungle, feared and respected by all animals. One afternoon, after a big meal, the lion felt sleepy and decided to rest under the shade of a large tree. Soon, he drifted into a deep slumber. While he was sleeping, a little mouse who lived nearby came out of his hole and began playing around. The mouse accidentally ran across the lion's huge paw, which startled the lion and woke him up. With a loud roar, the lion caught the tiny creature under his strong claws. "How dare you disturb my sleep?" the lion growled angrily. "I should crush you for this." Quote. The terrified mouse trembled and pleaded, "Oh, mighty king, please forgive me. I did not mean to wake you up. If you let me go, I promise I will help you someday." Quote. The lion burst into laughter. You? Help me? How could a tiny creature like you ever be of any help to a king like me? But amused by the little mouse's bravery, he decided to let him go. Very well, little one. I spare your life today. Now run away before I change my mind. The mouse scampered off, grateful for the lion's mercy. A few days later, as the lion was wandering through the jungle, he got caught in a hunter's trap. A strong net fell over him, and no matter how much he roared and struggled, he couldn't free himself. His loud cries echoed through the jungle, reaching the ears of the little mouse. Recognizing the lion's voice, the mouse rushed to the spot. He saw the mighty lion trapped and ran up to him. Don't worry, my friend. I will help you, the mouse squeaked. With his sharp little teeth, the mouse began gnawing at the thick ropes of the net. He chewed, and before long, the net broke apart. The lion was finally free. I cannot believe it, the lion said gratefully. You, a tiny mouse, have saved my life. I was wrong to doubt your ability. Thank you, my little friend. The mouse smiled and said, even the smallest creature can help the mightiest of beings. From that day forward, the lion and the mouse became the best of friends. The lion learned that kindness is never wasted, and he never looked down upon small creatures again. Moral of the story: kindness is never wasted. Even the smallest being can be of great help one day. The boy who cried wolf. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between green hills, there lived a young shepherd boy named Liam. Every day, he would take the village's sheep to a nearby meadow to graze. He had a simple task: to watch over the sheep and protect them from any harm, especially from wolves that roamed the nearby forest. However, Liam found this job very boring. He had no one to talk to, and the hours passed slowly. One day, as he sat idly on a rock, he thought of a mischievous plan to entertain himself. Climbing onto the tallest rock, he cupped his hands around his mouth and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! A wolf is attacking the sheep!" Quote. Hearing his cries, the villagers dropped their work and rushed up the hill, armed with sticks and tools, ready to drive the wolf away. But when they arrived, they found the sheep grazing peacefully and Liam laughing at their worried faces. "There is no wolf. I was just having some fun," Liam said, giggling. The villagers scolded him for wasting their time and warned him never to lie again. But Liam found their reaction amusing and decided to repeat his trick another day. A few days later, feeling bored again, Liam climbed onto the rock and shouted, "Wolf! Wolf! Help! There's a wolf!" Quote. Once again, the kind-hearted villagers rushed up the hill to help. But, just like before, they found no wolf, only Liam rolling on the ground with laughter. "Liam, this is not funny. If you keep lying, no one will believe you when you truly need help," an old man warned him sternly. Liam shrugged, unconcerned. He had fun tricking the villagers and saw no harm in his game. However, fate had its own lesson in store for him. One evening, as the sun began to set behind the hills, Liam heard rustling in the bushes. He turned and saw two glowing eyes staring at him. A huge, hungry wolf emerged from the forest, baring its sharp teeth. Terrified, Liam scrambled to his feet and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Wolf! Wolf! Please help! A real wolf is attacking the sheep." Quote. This time, when the villagers heard his cries, they simply shook their heads. "It's just another one of Liam's tricks," they said to one another. No one bothered to climb the hill. Liam kept screaming, but no one came. The wolf attacked the flock. scattering the sheep and carrying one away into the dark forest when the danger had passed. Liam ran to the village in tears. A real wolf came. It took one of the sheep. I called for help, but no one came, he sobbed. An old villager sighed and said, "We wanted to believe you, Liam, but you had lied too many times. When people lose trust in you, they won't believe you even when you tell the truth." Liam hung his head in shame, realizing the terrible mistake he had made. From that day forward, he promised never to lie again. He worked hard to regain the villagers' trust. And though it took time, they eventually forgave him. Moral of the story: lying breaks trust once lost. It is difficult to regain. Always be truthful, because honesty builds trust and respect. The Thirsty Crow. Once upon a time, in a vast and dry land, where the sun blazed high in the sky, there lived a clever and hard-working crow. The land had been suffering from a long drought, and all the rivers, lakes, and ponds had dried up. Trees stood lifeless. Their leaves turned brown and brittle. The animals and birds of the forest struggled to find food and water. The crow, too, felt extremely thirsty and desperately needed water to quench his thirst. Determined to find water, the crow flew high into the sky. Scanning the land below, he soared over the fields, trees, and distant villages, but he could not find a single drop of water. His wings grew tired, and he felt weak from exhaustion. Just as he was about to give up, he spotted a garden in the distance. Hoping to find water there, he quickly flapped his wings and headed towards it. Upon reaching the garden, the crow noticed a tall clay pot placed under a shady tree. He flew closer and peered inside. To his delight, there was water at the bottom of the pot. However, his excitement quickly faded when he realized that the water level was too low for him to reach. He tried dipping his beak in, but no matter how much he stretched, he couldn't touch the water. The crow thought hard. "There must be a way to get the water," he murmured to himself. He looked around and noticed small pebbles scattered on the ground. A clever idea struck his mind. He picked up a pebble with his beak and dropped it into the pot. Then he picked up another and another, carefully dropping them one by one. As he continued, the water level in the pot slowly began to rise. Encouraged by this, he worked even faster, collecting more pebbles and dropping them into the pot. His beak ached from carrying the heavy stones, but he did not give up. After what seemed like a long time, the water finally reached the brim of the pot. The crow joyfully dipped his beak into the cool, refreshing water and drank deeply. His thirst was finally quenched, and he felt strong and energetic again. He flapped his wings and cawed happily. Hard work and intelligence always find a way, he thought. Just then, an old tortoise, who had been watching the crow's efforts, slowly approached. "Dear crow," he said, "I saw you working so hard and using your intelligence to solve a problem. Your determination is inspiring." The crow smiled and replied, "In difficult times, we must use our wisdom and never give up. If we keep trying, we will always find a way." The tortoise nodded wisely and said, "Indeed, you have taught me an important lesson today. Patience and effort lead to success." With a heart full of joy, the crow flew away to share his story with others. The lesson of his cleverness and perseverance spread throughout the land, inspiring many animals and birds to think wisely and never lose hope in challenging situations. Moral of the story: where there is a will, there is a way. No matter how hard the situation, intelligence and persistence can help overcome any challenge. Create prompt for image creation. Thank you for watching. If this inspired you, It might inspire someone else to watch, share, and spread the motivation.